Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'll be talking about preferences after enlightenment. Yes, they do continue to exist, and I do have preferences. They're not particularly attached to, they're not identified with, they're not as strong as they were, I think, prior to enlightenment. For example, in music, when I was younger and when I was a kid, I had a strong distaste for country music. And I particularly, fought against my dad and others trying to play it and beg for a different thing. Because I had my own preferences. Well, now, after enlightenment, I still have my own preferences. If I'm going to turn on the radio or listen to something, it's probably going to be rock or reggaeton, being I'm studying Spanish, or kirtan. I mean, that's pretty much what I listen to these days. But if I was somewhere that I was with a group of people or somewhere I had to be, and it was playing country music, it wouldn't bother me. I've been at places where country was playing and, it just let it be. It was not a strongly held preference, is what I guess I'm trying to say. There's a preference. So it's like if you've got all these various options, you'll go after certain things. And most of these are due to the body, mind's conditioning and experience and the likes that you've gotten over time. Reading, I tend to read nonfiction. If I read fiction, a lot of times it's fantasy. I read a lot of manga. My favorite genre being fantasy. Also kind of like some of the romance mangas put out of Japan, but fantasy tends to be the favorite. Of the subgenres, isekai, which is kind of a reincarnation or being brought to another world or that kind of storyline. And, if I'm going to watch on my own something, those are the ones, or I'm looking for a new anime or manga to read, those are the ones I gravitate to. I do not particularly care for robot manga or anime. And so if I'm looking for a new read, I'm not going to be going after one of those. And so, or the martial art ones where there's excessive fight scenes. It's like I don't need to skim pages and pages of fight scenes. I like a bit more story, dialogue, things like that. But these are preferences. Movies, don't really particularly care for a lot of movies made out of Hollywood these days. So I don't watch a lot of movies, but I know that me and my wife have different tastes, so sometimes agreeing upon a movie is sometimes more difficult because she a lot of times she likes period dramas or romances or whatever, and Elizabethan times or whatever, and I'm not really big in that era, so to speak. I've watched some, but I'd probably ask for a different pick. And not necessarily that we have to watch everything together either, because if there are series that I want to watch or she wants to watch, we watch them separately. They don't, we don't have to watch everything the other watches. If there was some rule put in place that we had to watch everything together, I probably wouldn't be as picky. But she doesn't watch a lot of stuff either. She tends to do TV fasts where she'll not watch things or limit herself to one show or something, and so she watches far less than I do. But lately, I've been watching, actually I've been taking a class and watching it on TV for Swift programming. So I mean, another preference. You know, from childhood I learned basic programming when I got my first computer, and I enjoyed it, and so I'm studying Swift because I think it'd be fun to develop iOS apps for my iPhone. So, you know, it's not that there's no preferences. It's not that, you know, given the choice, you can't make a choice because nothing's preferred. There's a preference. If you're given two options, you'll gravitate to one more than the other. That's fairly natural. But you're not particularly attached or identified with the option. And so, you know, all options are good too. So yeah, it's preferences, they change after enlightenment. They aren't as sticky. They aren't as strong. They don't define the way life is lived as much. It is more of you know, subtle attractions as you're, you know, floating along and seeing options, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll go this way because that seems more interesting to this body mind. But it's not particularly important. So, yep, preferences exist. I hope this answers the question or the general idea that was being asked. If you have any comments, questions, please post below, as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe and be notified of new videos as they are published. But until next time, thank you much.